We could be looking at some major legal fallout from the ballot counts. Let's see which states will be targeted by the Trump campaign with its senior legal advisor, Jenna Ellis. Jenna, thank you for joining us. What's the target now?
Yeah, well, the president was absolutely right to say yesterday that we're going to keep all legal options on the table. And I think that the American public deserves to have confidence in the fairness, the legitimacy of our elections. And so, of course, right now we're looking at Pennsylvania, what's going on in that state. I think that there could be questions, in Georgia. There could be questions in Nevada, Wisconsin. So, we'll really have to see. And so the legal team, of course, is keeping all options on the table.
I want to bring in our panel here, Mark Halpern, Tom Basile. Mark, do you have a question for Jenna?
I have two. First, Jenna, you are the most prodigious tweeter on Team Trump, except maybe the president himself. I'm wondering if any of those are sent automated or you actually are up tweeting live whenever you tweet.
Most of the time, I actually am up tweeting. I have a great job working for the president. No one works harder than him, so that's actually quite the compliment, and I appreciate that so much. And so, monitoring so many things because this is 2020, and we want to make sure that, we're protecting election integrity. We're protecting all of the principles of freedom and fairness in the Constitution. So, yeah, that's me.
If you want to know what's going on in Team Trump, you should follow this woman on Twitter. She's extraordinary. Of the states that are out there right now that we've identified as perhaps going to Joe Biden, I'm wondering if you can cite any specifics in any of those states of things that concern you, not just a general concern about making sure every vote counts and there's voter integrity, but have you seen anything in any of the following states, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, or Wisconsin, that concerns you?
Yeah, so right now, of course, we're looking at the method of the ballots being counted, making sure that that's been fair and appropriate. We're also looking at questions of, why the counting is stopped. Certainly, of course, the states have 2 weeks to certify the ballots, but we even saw yesterday some of the voter intimidation that was going on.
Jenna, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're naming things that I've heard you talk about, but in general, I'm asking you for specifics, specific polling places or counties. Any specific in the 4 states I named, again, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, or Michigan? Is there anything specific in those states you would cite as at least of concern to you?
Well, again, I think that that we're looking at all of those issues, and those are specifics. Those are specific things that that have to be looked at, and we have to make sure that everything is done fairly and appropriately. And so when we talk about voter intimidation, when we talk about voter suppression, when we talk about some of these states like Pennsylvania, for example, that have their election law that's attempting to be manipulated after the fact, then those are all things and principles of election integrity that can be challenged. And so, right now, it's too early to point out just one specific county, but, if we're looking at Philadelphia, if we're looking at what's going on in Arizona that was called, way too early by the media, there are a lot of things going on. And so, I don't want to highlight specifically one county, like the Florida 2000 election. We could end up with a few different scenarios of Bush v. Gore's in multiple counties in multiple states, but we'll have to see what happens. And so I don't want to kind of jump that right now, but I will just say that the legal team, of course, is looking at everything on the ground.
Jenna, Tom Basile here. Let's make an assumption that by the end of the day today, we have a resolution in Wisconsin and in Michigan, and it's the margin of victory for either candidate is under 1 percentage point. We also know that in the state of Pennsylvania, there are a lot of outstanding ballots, and there are a lot of changes to the procedures that were affected by the courts over the last couple of months. Take us through the process. Making those assumptions, take us through the process. What does the legal team do next in each of those states?
Yeah, well, of course, that depends on the actual scenario. We run through a lot of hypotheticals, but basically, if it looks like there is either a recount that needs to happen, there's something on the ground in terms of manipulation of election law that needs to be challenged, then, of course, we would file suit at that point. And that would be based on principles of election integrity, constitutional principles. The president has always maintained that he is on the side of the Constitution for law and order. We have a method of how we appoint our electors for the Electoral College in this country, and that's the state legislatures. So, for example, in your hypothetical, if the margin of error or the margin is only about 1%. I have no doubt that either candidate would challenge, maybe have a recount, but then also for the state of Pennsylvania, then we would certainly challenge legally the same question that the Supreme Court declined to hear before the election that really does need to be resolved, which is these 3 days after the fact. That has not been changed by the Pennsylvania legislature. That is unconstitutional because the states cannot just arbitrarily change their election law through any other method than their state legislature. That hasn't happened in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Jenna, a lot of information there. Thank you for providing it. Wish we were in their meetings because we know you got a lot coming up in the next few days. Maybe you'll tweet it so Mark and all the rest of us can see what's going on ahead of time. Jenna Ellis, thank you so much.
Thank you.